This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Okay, good morning everyone. Shalom Aleichem, Bruchim Abam. We're continuing in Mishna Berura Daf Hashavua. We're learning Siman Chav Ches. We're in the middle of Seif Beis. We're Siman Chav Ches Seif Beis. The Mechaber said the Tefillin Shel Rosh you take off first, because it says V'hayula Taitafos B'neinecha that whenever you're wearing Tefillin Shel Rosh you should have two on. Kozman Sheb'neinecha Yushnayim. The Mechaber said that tzarich l'achloit tefillin shel rosh me'umad. You need to take them off standing. V'yaniach batik shel rosh. You put in the bag the tefillin shel rosh. V'olav shel yad, and on it the shel yad. Why? So that when you come to put on the tefillin, you're going to encounter the shel yad first. So put the tefillin shel yad in a way where it's on top of the shel rosh, so that you will encounter that first. Says the Mishna Berura Seif Katan Zayin. Kasav habach v'chein hataza el b'siman chafei Seif Katan Yud. Dahainu shiyasa tik aroich v'tzar. You should make a long, narrow bag. Shiur menachem zal gavei. That's how the Bach says the tefillin bag should be. Now, we don't do that. I don't, raise your hand if you have a long, thin tefillin bag. We don't have Bach and Taz tefillin bags. Right? Better to have it one on the other, outside the other. Why? What's the lumdus of the Magen Avram? So the Dirshu brings that the kedusha of the shel rosh is greater than the shel yad, so therefore it's not appropriate that the shel yad should be on top of it. V'chein noyag, that's the minhag. U'mashakazam chaver va'olav shel yad pirush yinug tzas l'tzad ma'ilo. It should be a little bit towards the outside of the bag. Kedei lifgoy behem tchila. So that's important to remember, to position the tefillin in the bag where the tefillin shel yad on the left side is a little bit more out than the tefillin shel rosh. U'v'sefer shel Chol because of shiyu tefillin shel yad b'tzad yemin shel atik gam ken mitamza. The Shulchan Shlomo says for this reason the tefillin shel yad should be on the right side. Is that what we do? Why am I not remembering that right now? We have the tefillin shel yad. What do we do? I don't hear anybody, so
left side.
Don't we base it where the zipper is? How you going to open it?
Do we? The Shulchan Shlomo says you should make the tefillin shel yad on the right side. Let me see what I do. I don't even remember.
Left. He says the right side of the bag. Could mean when facing the bag, it's on the right side of the bag.
Facing the bag, it's on the right side of the bag. The right side means... One second. I do the shel yad on the left side.
Not when you're looking at the bag in the front, it's on the right side.
That's not what he means. That's what he means? He means it should be on the left. He says put the tefillin shel yad on the right side of the bag. Right side of it means when you open the bag, the right side, he says to put the tefillin shel yad. I don't think we do that. Right? We have the tefillin shel yad on the left side. Let's see what he says in the Dirshu. Let's say he brings that someone who sticks out their hand. He opens up the bag. And now you open up the zipper. Now when you're opening up the zipper, you're going to the right side. Now by opening up to you're getting to the tefillin shel rosh, you're allowed to do that. That's not considered Mavra Mitzvah. You want to say that we do what he says? Because the tefillin shel yad is on the right side of the bag? What, if the zipper is the other way, it's the right side? That's what he means?
If you hold the bag in front of you, it's on the right side of the bag. When you put it on the table, it's upside down to you. So it's on the left side.
That's upside down?
So
To do it on the right
the
side.
zipper is facing you, the bag is really upside down.
Mm-hmm.
If you face the bag from the front, it is the right side of the bag technically. I don't know if that's what he means.
Why? By the way, why should the shel yad be on the right side? What's he saying? He says you should put the shel yad on the right side. Why? Because you encounter the right first? Do you? Okay, I'm not sure what he means. By putting it on the right side, you're going to encounter first. Why? Because you're a righty and you're sticking out your right hand. So, I would think, by the way, that he's saying put it on the right side, not with the bag upside down. He's saying put it on the right side, not like we do, because most people are righties, and when you stretch out, you're going to be stretching out with your right hand, and you're going to encounter the tefillin shel yad first if it's on the right side. L'chayr, that's what he means. Why we don't do that? I don't know. Maybe we should. Should we switch it? Let's see what he says. And some people have two bags. Even when you have two bags, you should put the one with the shel yad toward the outside, in order to encounter it first. Why? Even by different bags, it's shaykh being maver ala mitzvah. By the way, I will tell you today, I did something that I don't think I ever did before in my life. I took off the box on my tefillin shel yad when I made the bracha, and I was very nervous because my corners were. I don't want to make an ayin hara, but I had, and then I forgot to put it on, so I put my sleeve on, and I don't know. I'm not so comfortable with this new of not leaving it on. Okay, anyway, the Mishna Berura continues. Oysan b'nei adam anogin lasses tikkun la tefillin. People who make boxes for their tefillin. Yesham l'samin ezer shachar shel rosh shel yad. They should make a siman which is for the shel yad and which is for the shel rosh. Kidei sheizar be'am v'lo yotzei shel rosh tchila me'atik. So you don't make a mistake and take the shel rosh out first. Gam the kivan the shel rosh kedushasei chamura. Also, because the shel rosh has more kedusha, yizar yidei zeh shel yoshanos achar kach atik litein b'ya shel yad. You won't make a mistake, and you won't change the container to put the shel yad in the shel rosh case. Elam kein hisna betchila, unless you make a stipulation originally. Kila kaman b'siman membeis. Okay. And then the Mechaber said, put it in the bag, the shel rosh, and on top of it the shel yad, in order that you encounter the shel yad first. V'lo yitztarech l'haver ala mitzvah. V'nochin l'zor shel yachled shel yad ad sheyaniach shel rosh b'toich ha'tik. This is also an interesting halacha. You should be careful not to remove the tefillin shel yad until you put the tefillin shel rosh into the bag. So we had this a few times already, but let's review this. What do you do on Rosh Chodesh? What do you do on Rosh Chodesh? So he brings over here that even on Rosh Chodesh that we quickly take off the tefillin to daven musaf. Rabbi Yosef Chaim Zanvel was nizar to put the shel rosh in the bag before he took off the shel yad, so he should not forget afterwards and put the shel yad in the wrong place. So it seems like you should be careful on Rosh Chodesh. Again, I don't think most people do that. Most people leave it out. So at the very least, put in, if you don't have time to put back the shel yad also, at least put in the shel rosh. Okay. Sif Gimel. Minhag hachachamim lenashek atfilim b'shas hanachasim b'shas chalitzasam. The minhag of the sages, minhag of the wise men, is to kiss the tefillin when you put it on, when you take it off. Now here's the thing. My friend asked me on Shabbos, my friend Chaim Bender asked me on Shabbos, why isn't it a hefsek? Remember we learned by tzitzis, it's a hefsek during Kriya Shema, possibly, Rav Moshe says, it's a hefsek during Kriya Shema to kiss the tzitzis in the middle of Shema. So when exactly are you kissing your tefillin? Before the bracha, you make the bracha, then you kiss it, or you're kissing it, I guess, before the bracha, but then you can't kiss the shel rosh, because the shel roish, you now be mafsik between the shel yad and the shel roish. So let's see what the Mishna Berura says. V'shas chalitzasan. Kishemakapel tefillin. No, so the Mishna Berura doesn't say anything about this. So I would say like this. You want to kiss your shel yad when you take it out, l'chayra, that's great. Kiss it as much as you want. But to kiss the shel roish before you make the bracha, I don't think is correct. After you make the bracha, I don't think is correct. So you're going to kiss the shel yad and not the shel roish? How do you do these kissings? Anyway, the Mishna Berura doesn't say. But if let's see. When you wrap the tefillin, you should not wrap the ritzuas on the bottom, on the sides, ala titayra. So let's see, ala titayra. He brings in the Dirshu that earlier in Siman Chavzan Sivkan Lambe, he writes that Titara has more kedusha than the Ritzuos, and you should not wrap at the time of Anachas Tefillin the Ritzuos on the Titura unless you need it to keep it in its place. What about the Kesher Shel Roish? Most people put it under the bias. Yeah, most people. Let's see. Let's see what I do. He says most people put it under the mavarta, and they wrap the ritzua around the ketzitza. Baruch HaShulchan says you should put it on the mavarta, because it's part of Hashem's name, it should not be underneath. So I can't say I do that. I have mine underneath. It just folds much better when it's underneath. Yeah, my knot is underneath. But the Aruch HaShulchan says to put it on top. So how are you going to fold it?
It softens that way. Rav Heshi Pincus from Tveres Stam told me to put it on top. Eventually, when you use it, it's gonna become easier.
So he says to put it on top, but it doesn't fold. In other words, when you put it on bottom, right, then the ritzu, it folds.
Now the leather's used to it. But if you start putting it on top, the leather's going to soften that it's easy to do it on top.
But then it comes out the ritzu is twisted, right?
A little bit, but it folds. I fold it underneath.
I understand, but it's still one side of the ritzua is twisted. Yeah?
Now, if you put it sideways or on top, why don't you put it sideways on top?
Sideways on top.
Sideways fold instead of a flat fold.
I'm not good with the spatial. Anyone have? If anyone come over here and show me how to do it without twisting your ritzua, I'll be very grateful to you. The Makar Chaim says it's yadua u'meforsam. You do it on bottom, but I hear the Sar the Aruch HaShulchan. I hear. So you're saying that Seif from say you do it on top, and eventually it will position itself. It will work out. And what do you do with the? 1 second. You put it on top, and you put the other part on bottom.
Right. Some people leave it loose, like kanfei yaina, I've seen.
All right, I'm wearing I'm letting everything out here. Everything's out of the bag this morning. What could I do? Okay. It's what?
It's a good for parnasa.
It's a school for parnasa to do what?
Put it on top.
Who says that?
I don't know. Don't remember. Someone told me this one.
Okay.
Hashavua wasn't good enough, but the school of Parnasa.
Okay. Oh, this is what you're saying. Some people wrap it like wings. Al shem kanfei yoina. When you wrap it on the edges of the tefillin, tzarich lechaz tefillin biyadai. You have to hold the tefillin in your hand, v'liglol ha'ritzu aleim, and to wrap the strap around it, v'loi lechois ha'ritzu b'yadai, not to grab the ritzua in your hand, v'liglol ha'tefillin l'toicha. So in other words, you don't do it backward. You don't hold the strap and wrap the tefillin around it. You hold the tefillin, you wrap the strap around it. Gam kishenoita al tefillin mikisan lo yinarim. When you take the tefillin back, don't shake it. Ela noitlan biyada mitachakis. I mean, don't grab it by the ritzua and let it sort of unwind itself, but take it with your hand. Tik tefillin asa b'shel shatnez kamay mitpachas svarim. The tefillin bag, you cannot have shatnez, just like a bag for svarim that we are makbid not to use shatnez. Now, l'chara, why should shatnez be usher? There's no isser even of hala of shatnez. So why is it usher to have a tefillin bag of shatnez? So Shulchan Aruch in Yoredeya and Siman Shin Aleph Siftes, the Dirshu quote says that since the hands are touching it, you're sticking it in the bag, and it somehow wraps around the bag always, it warms the hand, you have to be makbid not to have a tefillin bag. Not sure what that's talking about. When exactly is the tefillin bag warming the hand? When you stick it in for a second?
When you plug them in, right?
What?
Enter the rush. When you put the hand for the shut, you got enter the rush. Twice you put your hand inside.
Very good, but so what?
Warms it up. Especially in a cold day.
Rabbi Isai, have a great day. If anybody wants to show me how to wrap the knot, take out your tefillin. I want to see what your tefillin look like with the knot on top.
I was told that the way we put the tefillin shalyat on the left side, then it's closer to you. That's why that way, the way we do it.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.